Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky spoke by remote video to members of the U.S. Senate today, making a direct appeal for aid just a day after the White House warned lawmakers that money and weapons for Ukraine is in short supply. Democrat Senate leader Chuck Schumer has scheduled a Senate vote tomorrow for supplemental spending that includes $61 billion for Ukraine. So far, this effort has stalled as Republicans continue to insist that Ukraine spending be coupled with a border plan to drastically reduce the chaos and the danger at our southern border. Joining me now to discuss this, Congressman Keith Self. He serves on the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the House Veterans Affairs Committee. He represents the 3rd Congressional District of Texas. Congressman Self, welcome back to the program.
Great to be here, Tony. Great to see you. Tony, great to see you.
Good to see you as well. Tell us the latest on the negotiations regarding border security that the House leadership is saying is going to have to be coupled with any type of aid for Ukraine.
Well, I'm not sure. The negotiations are going between the leadership of the Senate and the House. But I will tell you, there is a strong move here that Ukraine, if it's tied to the border, the issue here is how do we change the behavior of a lawless president to actually enforce the laws on the books? It won't take more money. It's not more policy. It's how do we change the behavior? So this is not simple linkage to me. It's how do we enforce the border laws on the books today? I'm not interested in more policy.
Right, because the policy they've put in place is not working, and just spending more money is not the answer either, which they have put into this supplemental package as well. You're a military veteran. Let me ask you about the concerns, and I've heard a lot. I was on the Hill earlier this morning talking to members. There's concern. I mean, we've had, I think, over about $110 billion so far has gone to Ukraine. We're talking about another $60 billion going to Ukraine. There's concerns about accountability and what are the goals here?
Well, your last point is the best point. What is the goal of the Biden administration? What is the end game? What is considered success? Because we don't know. We don't know what the Biden plan is. We know that he has slow-rolled weapons into Ukraine now for more than a year, but we don't know what his plan is. I wish Congress had a plan for Ukraine. Then we could sort out whether we want to fund a plan or not. But we have no plan. So I think that Republicans are going to take a very hard look at what we are funding, regardless of what the amount of the bill is. So it will be tied to the border, enforceable border elements. But let's talk about spending for just a second, because where are France and Germany in this? Now, I will tell you the Eastern European nations, those that are truly in harm's way from Russia, they're all in. I want to know about the Western European nations. Now, the UK is an exception. The UK is doing a very good job supporting Ukraine. But I want to know about the large nations of Western Europe, mainly France and Germany.
Congressman Self, I talked about this yesterday, but I'm going to throw it out there as a question for you. I'm suspect of those Chuck Schumer and those on the left, President Biden, who really don't have a history of being pro-military, pro-defense, pro-national security, being so enthusiastic for literally spending billions and billions of dollars in Ukraine, as you pointed out, without a clear plan.
It is with no plan. Why would we spend any money? This cannot be another forever war. This cannot be a war that has no end. My constituents will tell you they want to see what a plan is. They want to know what the U.S. is about. We do not want to send money, our men, our equipment into a forever war again. And frankly, we've reached a stalemate now for the winter. It's going to be a tough winter on the Ukrainians because Russia is going to have this long-range attack against their infrastructure. I've got it, but right now it's a stalemate. And back to any spending. I want to make this point very clear, Tony. The Republicans will not do a standalone Ukraine funding. We will get enforceable border measures. I'm not even going to talk about policy. We're going to get enforceable border measures before we agree to anything.
That's encouraging to hear. We're hearing that from some in the Senate as well. Are you confident that the Republican senators will hold fast to that same commitment?
Tony, I'm not confident of the Senate in any measure. I am a member of the House of Representatives. We will do our job for the American people, and then we will sit down with the Senate, and the Senate has already heard from the Speaker, folks, this is the way it's going to be. Funding starts in the House of Representatives.
Right. Let me go. We're talking about funding. Let me go to another aspect of the supplemental bill, and that was $14 billion for Israel. The House already passed that. You sent it over with trade-offs from IRS spending. The Senate has not taken that up. They're wanting to bundle this all back together and throw it back over to the House. What's going to happen there in the House if the Senate sends this back over all bundled into one package?
We're not going to take it up. We have passed the bill. It sits in the Senate. The Senate will vote on it, or we won't take it up. I think that is very clear from the Speaker. He's made that very clear, and I do not see that happening. The Senate might do it. I don't think the House will take it up.
I want to play a clip of Bernie Sanders, who was on the floor yesterday, complaining about the funding for Israel. Play clip number 4.
For many years, the United States has provided Israel with substantial sums of money, with close to no strings attached. This blank check approach must end. The United States must make clear that while we are friends of Israel, there are conditions to that friendship.
Congressman, I went back and did the math. Over the last 75 years, the United States has given to to Israel for military and defense about $123 billion. It's a lot of money. But we've already given 110 to Ukraine in the last year, in less than 2 years, and we're talking about another $60 billion. What's going on here? Why the hesitancy to help Israel, but all-out money flowing to Ukraine?
I don't understand Senator Schumer. I was at the Israeli march back several weeks ago. He stood on the stage and he said, "You will get what you need." And now they're balking at the bill that the House sent over. And frankly, it's a difference in policy as well. Israel is a true partner.
Right.
They have developed the Iron Dome, David's Sling, and the Arrow. It is a true partnership with the United States, with Israel. We don't have that same partnership with Ukraine. So let's don't conflate the two. Israel is a partner, Ukraine is not.
And that's why the two bills should be separate in terms of its funding.
Absolutely.
And we've got
Absolutely.
a long history with Israel, and we'll be very frank. I'll be very frank as a Christian. I think we need to stand steadfastly with Israel and our Jewish friends. Congressman Keith Self, I want to thank you for joining us. Always great to see you.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks for having me on. Have a great day.
All right, you do the same.